Hey folks, welcome back. My name is still Ronald. We are still playing Dungeon Universalis. I'm going to tell you something about movement. It's a whole chapter. I think we'll take again 30 minutes for it. I'll give you a great overview about almost everything in the rulebook. About difficult terrain, impossible terrain, vertical ladders, large creatures, exploration in a small kind of way, not too much because exploring is another action for a further video. But for the beginning, I want to I want to recap something I have missed in the last video when we were talking about tests. And once again, tests are made with a 2d6 road, and you can have two special results. You can have a double critical, and you can have a double failure or blunder. Between that, there are also single failures with one, but that's only one rule applying for that. And you can have single criticals. We will have a deep look at them when we are talking about combat. But blunders is something you can have with almost every test. You can have a blunder while searching furniture. You can have a blunder while fighting in melee. A blunder while casting spells. So there are many situations where you can make blunders. So I've made a table together with a guy from the BGG board, where you can see all the blunders that can happen. You can download it there. I will put it in the comments, the download link. So here you can see what happens with a double critical, what happens with a blunder when you're doing magic or doing melee. And yes, I just wanted to say that these are special kind of test results, and if you're rolling a double one, you should check the table or the rule book or whatever. So it may come to a bad end for you. Your weapon can be dropped, or your shield and can be broken, or you can take damage because your spell isn't casted in the right way. Yeah, that's it. I wanted to add this because we had it in the first video, and now we're talking about movement. So I'm cleared up here a little bit. We are placing Larnak, my little goblin, and the basic movement is pretty simple. You can move in any direction, including diagonally. Diagonally. Oh God. My English. So you can move here or here. No problem with this. Go up here. So there are some exceptions of that, but at first we have a look. Larnak has a movement value of 5, so he's allowed to move up to 5 points in his turn. So he can move. He can stand still, or move up to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or just 2. And the important thing with movement is you have one action in your turn and one quick action. We have a look at actions in the next video, or in one of the next videos. So it's just important to know for you for the moment that you have to do the action before or after moving. You can do the quick action while moving, not while running. Running is an action we'll talk about later. But you can, you have to, if you want to fight, or if you want to cast a spell, or to search for loot, or for furniture, search for something else, you have to do it before you move or after you move. So if we pretend that there's an enemy, where's my beauty Northern Barbarian Warrior? So let's place her here so we can see her. So Lana can move over here and then attack. He also could attack if we're ignoring that he's engaged in combat, we ignore this for the moment. He could first attack her and then move away. He cannot, like in maybe in Descent 2, second edition, he could not move over there, 1, 2, hit her, and then move back. This is not possible in Dungeon Universalis. So right before or after the movement. Okay, so once again, you can also move diagonally. Okay, there's facing, and I'll take her for a better demonstration. There's facing in Dungeon Universalis. You have a front and a back. When you use the standees, it's on both sides there's the same picture, but here's the model number, and I think it's the common way is to use this as the back side. So if she's standing this way, she's looking here, and this is her back. Otherwise around, she's looking at here, and this is her back. We have a deeper look when we're talking about melee, and but for now, it's nice to know for you that I need a pen. That these fields are her front and these fields around her are her back. So when we're talking about this, about movement, in her activation she can turn around, and this is not regarded as movement. So she can change her facing in her activation, and she can change it every time she moves to a new field. So going here, she could turn around, and going further and turn back, and so on and so on. This is not a part of a movement. It doesn't cost a movement point. This is just part of the movement. Okay, that was facing. Then we have something occupied squares with allied or with enemies. So this is my warrior. This is Larnak, his allied. This is an enemy. Still, we are ignoring melee range, which we are talking about in an upcoming video. Let's pretend there isn't something like melee range, and engaging and disengaging and all the stuff you maybe have already heard of. So you cannot move through this enemy. So even Larnak with his 5 movement points, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, this is impossible. You have to step around, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or there. Okay, you cannot move through enemies. In almost no case you can do that. Later we have a look at what are the exceptions of this. And on the other side, you can move through allies. So Croxer here can use his movement. He's a movement of 4 or 5, whatever. He can use it 1, 2, 3, 4. Movement through an allied character costs 1 more movement point. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So yes, you are allowed to move through allied characters, but it costs 1 more movement point. That's it. No movement through enemies. Movement through allies is allowed. We have occupied squares. Occupied squares means there might be an obstacle. Like this well. And so you might imagine you cannot move over it so easily. You can walk onto it. This is another part. Maybe we can look at it in a few minutes. For the moment, you have to know you cannot move through it just like with a normal movement, and you cannot move diagonally along this corner. So you cannot move 1, 2, 3, 4, and this is not allowed. You have to move at around 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is for all obstacles. Maybe this is a column placed here that goes up to to the seal, so you cannot move 1, 2, 3, 4. This is not allowed. You may not pass this or this corner in diagonally, so you have to 1, 2, 3, 4. That's it. And then we have something called difficult terrain. So this is impassable terrain. You cannot move onto it because this column goes up to the seal. You cannot move onto it. Yep. So is here impassable terrain? I missed to check that. I thought there was here we have impassable terrain. Difficult terrain. Excuse me. This is a tile with difficult terrain because we have some mud here, and so if we want to pass this, we have to spend one more movement point. So if Croxer wants to move down here, he has to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. To be honest, I'm unsure about this because there's only a little bit of mud on this tile, on this square, not the most of it. So I wouldn't count this as difficult terrain. For me, this is much more mud on it than here. So this for me is difficult terrain. This is not. This is more than the half, so I would count it as difficult terrain, not this. Okay, but let's make a much clearer example. Let's move from here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 steps. He would need to pass this. Also, when he enters or when he ends his activation in this kind of difficult terrain, he will get a penalty of -1 for the attributes, and I'll show you on a card. For his combat value, for his shooting value, for his agility, and for casting spells. So he will not get a penalty of -1 for his intelligence, which is the difference. Yes, you need intelligence to cast spells. This is the bonus you will get, but you will not have reduced your intelligence. You need this for some other tests you have to make. Maybe there's an evil spellcaster and the enemies who does damage. You have to roll against your intelligence rather than your armor, and so your intelligence is not lowered while standing in the terrain, which is thematically logical for me. But your agility is lowered, your shooting and your combat skill. And combat skill is important to know. So it's used for your attacks, but it's also used for your defense. So let's pretend Red Hat Barbarian is coming over here while you are standing here in this terrain. So you will also have a -1 on your combat skill for your defense. Not only if you want to attack her. And this is the important difference, that you will have a -1 on combat skill, on shooting, on agility, but not on intelligence, but for casting spells. So if you want to cast a spell, you will have not 3 as an intelligence, you have only a 2, but your intelligence is not lowered itself. So I'll take my pen back because I need it. This is difficult terrain. So I hope cutting this video will have worked. You don't have to watch it again. And let's pretend here's a bed in the middle of the swamp where whoever have put it there. And now we're talking again about higher ground. Again, it's because I've just told nonsense and I hope I could cut it out of the video. So higher ground, you are, let's pretend this guy has an average size because he has an average size. so he's an average. He has a size of 2, and this bed has a height of 1, so he could climb up to this bed and standing on the bed. So what happens? He has to spend 1 more movement point to go there. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and like on difficult terrain. And when he's standing here, he has an elevated position, which gives you some benefits or penalties depending on the size. On the side you're looking from for melee combat or for shooting, because you are standing on an elevated position. This guy hasn't longer average height, excuse me, but he has he's now kind of large. So standing next to this guy, this ogre has a large height by default, by nature. So when he's standing on this bed, they have the same height. And this guy standing next here, those guys are both average, have the same height. In that case, he's standing on the bed. He has the height of the ogre, and so he's larger than him. And I'm repeating myself, but this is important for shooting, for melee, and maybe 1 or 2 other rules, but they are not important for now. So let's remove the bed from the swamp, and let's see what we have on the checklist, what we want to do. This was higher ground. We have one nice feature called vertical ladders. Let's pretend again that west tile. I'm sorry. Here it is. One nice guy put a ladder above this difficult terrain in the middle of the swamp, so you can now walk over this. This is nonsense. It makes no sense. But there are levels. You have vertical ladders like this. There's also a tile with a long version, and whenever you want to walk over this, you cannot run on it, and you have also one moment. You've also spent 1 more movement point because it is regarded as difficult terrain, like the swamp itself. So it makes no sense to put it over here because it's the same. But if you have this in the dungeon, maybe here, which makes also no sense for the terrain, but it is called as difficult terrain when you walk over it. Those are vertical ladders. I've encountered some of them, that's why I'm showing you. And what we have now, we have doors. Now let's build a quick dungeon scene once again. This nice script. We have a corridor, and we have a door leading to this. And there are 2 kind of doors, two sizes of doors in Dungeon Universalis. We have single doors. This is the closed side, and we have double-sized doors. Oops, the large ones. So they're taking 1 or 2 squares depending on which size they are. And this is important. Doors never occupy a space. They are not here or they are not here. They are in the middle of that. So they are laying over half of each square. And to open that door or to break that door, whatever, you have to stand adjacent to it. Adjacent to it is always here and here, and not here. You cannot enter a room diagonally through a door. You could, and that was a mistake, you can break it from here. You can attack it from here with your weapon, but you cannot enter the room diagonally. I try to learn this word for the next videos. Okay, so let's pretend this door is open. You can enter the room here. 1, 2, 3. You cannot 1, 2, or 1, 2, or this is not possible. Just straight. If there's a double door, you have for sure the possibility to enter it with both with 2 characters, and then you can enter the room diagonally because it's open. So these are doors, and let's see where my notebook is. That's all for doors for the moment. You can have much fun with doors. If you have seen my demo play video, I'm talking about doors. They can be locked by the dark player with locked door cards, or there can be traps on the doors or something else. So we have a deeper look at that in an upcoming video. But for now, this is just about moving, and we've seen most of it. Okay, let's leave it open. Oh, it's so. Anything else? Let's see. Large creatures. Large creatures. The movement of large creatures is for all of your decent players nothing new. You can skip the next seconds. A large creature or a huge creature uses 4 squares, as you can see, even with the bases coming with done. So when you move this guy, you pretend he's only 1 square large. 1 square large? He's only he only is taking 1 square. So let's pretend in the moment you lift him up and you want to move him from this position, you pretend he's as large as this guy. So moving up over here is 1, 2, 3, and in that moment you want to take a position again. You need 4 squares, so you cannot. You always have to finish your movement where's the place for it. So you can place it here, or if the here was the last position, you can expand it to here, or to here, or to here. This is not possible because here's a rock, but I think you get what I want to say. So moving a large or huge creature is always pretending that he's only 1 square large, and not like maybe in Dungeon Saga, but we might have played, where you have to move it so loop, up, and you need always the whole 4 squares. If you want to move him, you can move him freely. You can move him in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. This like he was an average-sized miniature. So, what I already wanted to say is that if you can move through these guys, always thinking about what I've said, for the moment we are ignoring some kind of melee range, or disengaging and engaging and something else. So if you want to move through these guys, through these enemies, you can 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then stop here. What he cannot is, he cannot stop here because he has no place. He has this guy or he's this guy, so he cannot stop here. He has to stop where for free and unoccupied squares where he can end his movement. Whenever, and then we're coming back to the decent dungeon I've prepared here. So what about these doors? This guy doesn't seem to fit through it, but he can. he's walking through it through this door as if there was difficult terrain. So moving him from here to into this room is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then standing here or here. That's better. And then we can have a at last we can have a look what is what are occupied spaces. I've skipped this at the moment, I'm sorry, for at the beginning of the video. So it's the example from the manual. This room is very good for it. So here are squares that are more than the half of this square, or this square is taken by an obstacle, by a wall in this case. So these squares cannot be entered, or a miniature cannot remain in this, like this and this and this and this and this square. Also there's a wall on it, but it is not the majority. Is the right term? It's not the most of the square occupied by a wall. So she can stand here and here and here and here, but she cannot stand here. She cannot stand here, 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 here. Not here. Yes, okay. This is okay. And coming back to the outdoor, here's a stone, and that means she can stand here, she can stand here, because it's not the most of the square. Here, 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 and even I'd say she can stay here. Oops, I'm sorry. I think we have to measure this. I'd play that she could stand there, and yeah. But this type of terrain is made for cover, for light cover. In this case, we have a look at it when we are looking for shooting and for magic attacks. And yeah, that's it. Once again, back in the dungeon, I see I have a shelf here. There are several types of furniture. We've already seen the bed. We have the shelf. And I think I already talked about it. Here's Croxor. He could not pass this diagonally. You have to walk around. And he also cannot, he can enter the bed. He can step up to the bed. He cannot step up to the cupboard or shelf or whatever this is, because it has at least the same height as himself, so he cannot climb up. Just if it is lower than his own height, he can stand there or go up there and stand there, following the higher ground rule. So I guess the amount of great example. The amount of ums is still too damn high, and I've checked the last videos with the automatically generated subtitles, and there are so many ums. I'm so sorry for it. I'm doing this freely, and I'm not learning or doing rehearsals of this. I guess you've noticed this, but it works for me better than learning something and trying to find to remember the right words. And I guess this would much worse than the ums and and yeah and that I'm doing here. Yeah, I think you have to you have to live with it. And yeah, I have missed. I have left out some points like flying, like deep waters and swimming, and I've missed left out movement of watching at huge creatures in detail, because this is not this, in my experience, this doesn't happen so often that you are encountered with these type of things. And we can have a look at it in a later video, or you can read it on your own. Once again, these videos are meant as an addition for reading them, the rulebook for yourself. Please read the rulebook. Please don't rely on what I are telling you, because I do mistakes. I'm not very good at math. and yeah, these videos are a help for you, and I hope you enjoy them. And we we will meet again when we are talking about melee combat and ranged combat and magic, which are the upcoming videos after talking about the actions you can do, like searching furniture, like searching corpses, like searching for secret doors. You can do a lot of search in this game. We will talk about things like identifying traps and disarming traps, melee and running, and so these are all actions we will talk about in the next video. Stay tuned and have a great evening. Bye bye.